YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2, and I have yet another replay for you. This one is going to be myself playing as Athens, and my opponent playing as Baktria. My opponent recognized me and said that he enjoyed my videos, which is kind of him to say. A lot of you give me very, I guess, kind welcomes whenever I play battles against you. I appreciate that. It's actually very sportsmanlike. Most of the folks that I run into on Rome 2, it's pretty incredible because I didn't always get, that much on other Total War games. I remember playing a lot of spam games and stuff on other Total War, and some of you may experience the same thing on this game, but I guess that I'm fortunate. Almost everybody I play against is very sportsmanlike and plays a fun game. Win or lose, it's actually quite enjoyable. In fact, I'm enjoying Rome 2 multiplayer right now way more than I thought I would. I just really like it, and there's a lot of people who have given up on it because of all the patches, and if you've given up on Rome 2 multiplayer before you played it in patch 11 or patch 12, then you don't know what you're missing, in my opinion. Is it perfect? No. Is it perfectly balanced? No. But it's fun. There's a huge unit variety. There's a lot of maps to play on. There's a lot that can be done with it. I just really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. And like I said, if you gave up on it in like patch 5 or 6 thinking, it's just never going to work, then the game that you're looking at here isn't the same, and you're missing out. There's a lot of people on the multiplayer. I hope it stays that way. I enjoy it. I also enjoy the single player a great deal. I like how CA added the seasonal effects to the campaign, and then that allowed, and I know some of you say, oh, modders added it already, but I don't think it was completely added like they wanted it to, and so when CA added it, it allows you to throw like a 4-turn, 8-turn, 12-turn, 16-turn per year mod, whatever you want to do on there, and also change the main campaign into a slightly different feel. So, as my Athenian army, I've got 2 horse skirmishers here chasing off his armored elephants, and my opponent had told me, he's like, oh, this is going to be a defeat for me. A lot of people play me and they think it's going to be an instant defeat. That's definitely not the case. You all see me lose. And sometimes, though, the folks that I play are newer. And, it's okay whenever you're playing against people who have had more experience. Just do your best, and you never know what you're going to pull off. And so I just told my opponent, hey, have fun. And he was like, all right, And I hope he enjoyed it. It was fun getting to play against him. I like playing against folks, again, who are friendly and just enjoy the game. I play to win, for sure. I'd be lying if I said I don't. But I don't like to get so competitive that it ruins it for me if I don't win. I just like to play for fun. So like the match I showed you not too long ago between myself and Armenian King, it's no big deal for me to lose to Armenian King. He's a good player. It was a fun match. I learned a little bit about armies and, the consequences of not being able to follow up, stuff like that. So it's just, it's no big deal to lose. In any case, I've got my Rhodian Slingers absolutely destroying his pikemen. So I didn't bring pikemen. Actually, I brought Thorax Hoplites, and the reason I did this is because they're pretty good against Cav. They have a pretty high attack for a Hoplite unit and for the cost, and they are really a pretty sturdy unit, all things considered, and you can see his archers get very few kills on them because of their shields and armor, whereas my slingers are absolutely decimating his men. And I'm going to keep pressure on his elephants with my skirmisher cab. I have this one here and another approaching from behind. This is going to keep his elephants from being able to get into my hoplites. Now, hoplites will do better than swordsmen against elephants, but against armored elephants, they will take a pretty severe stomping. So it's no doubt that my opponent's wanting to get his elephants into my infantry. But this I do not want, not at least without causing some pretty serious hit point damage. And on top of my skirmisher cav, I do have my Rhodian Slingers, but I have these 2 light peltas specifically for elephant defense. And then I kept my general and another spear unit in reserve, again, specifically for elephant defense. My light peltists are going to throw some javelins here, and over time these javelins do tick away at the health of this unit, and it will be enough to cause some pretty considerable damage. My slingers are just ripping apart his pikes, so my opponent has no choice but to move up his Thorax Swordsman. Now his Thorax Swordsman would probably win in a head-on fight with my hoplites, but it's going to take them a long time to accomplish it, and they're few in number. And because my opponent lost his pikemen, and he's not pushing up with these Thurio spears yet. Maybe he wanted to continue to protect his skirmishers. Yeah, this Thorax pikeman's getting hit. I go ahead and put my guys into phalanx. At this point, my opponent has the option of charging and getting an extremely long grind-out fight with my guys who are going to have very high defense, or he could try and go around me. But if that's the case, I can just come out of phalanx mode and charge him. Thorax hoplites actually look very similar to Thorax swordsmen. see that my thorax hoplites are actually going to do quite well at holding back his swordsman. My opponent brings his elephants in for the flank, but these guys are all in phalanx mode, and I'm going to try and brace. And then look at the amount of javelins I get off right there, and then I charge from behind with the citizen cab as well. This is, again, just all meant to slow his elephants down, and then let my skirmishers do their work. My opponent tried to keep pulling through like he should, but there had been enough hit point damage done at that point that his Indian armored elephants start to die and they run amok. So a very expensive unit here for my opponent doesn't get to pan out, and this is going to allow me to try and finish the fight. His thorax sword here apparently had an order to pull through to this Thurios hoplites, and that's going to destroy it. Pull-through orders are not good on Rome 2. It's not what you want. He's bunched up here with 3 units against 1 thorax hoplite, and then I was able to push his swordsman back over here. And now I'm going to go for an outflanking maneuver. When I outflank with hoplites, I don't always remember to do it, but it's generally speaking, in my opinion, a good idea to take them out of formation attack and charge. That way your men have a stronger charge, a more penetrating charge, and they will kind of fill in the gaps around an enemy unit. And now all of these swordsmen and pikemen are completely encircled by my men. And it's just going to be a mosh pit of death going on right here, and all the units look very similar, because they are very similar. Yep, and I got my horse skirmishers in, chasing down his Syrian archers. Just want to keep them still. I'm going to bring my citizen cab into that fight as well. And at this point, the battle's pretty much wrapping up. Good game to my opponent. He said he was pretty new, so I'll just throw some tips out here. You may not need my tips. I don't win all the time, but I'll give you what tips I can. When you're playing as Baktria like this and you're going to come up against Athens, I don't think pikemen are necessary, unless you're going to bring levy pikemen. And the reason I say that is because levy pikemen are very cheap, and because they're cheap, you can focus more money into your skirmishers. I had a bunch of Rhodian slingers, which are very hard to deal with actually as Baktria, because Baktria doesn't have as good a slingers as Rhodians, and archers are not going to do well against Rhodian slingers. So in this case, I think some horse archers actually would have done you a lot of good, because you could have pushed around my flank, and that means that your archers or slingers up front would have had some advantage, while your horse archers push around completely to the rear and try and gain the attention of some of my men and harass my cavalry. The armored elephants, not necessarily a bad pick against Athens, but it's going to be a more challenging use since Athens is so good at skirmishing. So it's going to be hard to get your elephants in there without getting them skirmished to death. But I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of options you have there, and the Athenian player has access to a lot of different units, but I would just say as Baktria, make sure that you capitalize on the fact that they are a diverse faction as far as skirmish units, and those horse archers can become very handy sometimes. Very handy indeed. Anyway, there's the stats. Good game to my opponent. Thanks for the game. It was fun to play, and I hope you continue to enjoy the videos. Hopefully I continue to bring you good content. And again, like I said, appreciate the game. You were a good opponent and a good sport, and it's always nice to meet folks like you online. But anyway, HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.